Hello and welcome to Todd Talk, where insight meets inspiration. I'm your host, Todd Hiller, and I'm an author, speaker, and longtime community leader, here to guide you on a journey towards fulfillment and balance. In every episode, we'll explore ways to fill life's emptiness, helping you uncover practical tools to create harmony, purpose, and happiness. Whether it's thriving in your career, nurturing personal growth, or simply finding joy in the everyday, Todd Talk is your space for real conversations and actionable advice. So let's thrive together, personally, professionally, and beyond. This is Todd Talk, and I'm thrilled to have you here.
I saw a video recently that had a person talking to someone else, a well-known creator, and they said, I can't wait to show you that after I do X, Y, and Z, that I'm going to be somebody. And this person, this creator, told them, listen to me, you already are somebody. And, it stopped me, like what I was doing. It stopped the scroll, so to speak. And I could not get that out of my head because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about how so many of us, I think, are walking around waiting for permission to matter. And I want to take today in this episode to tell you to get right inside your ears and into your brain and tell you that you already do matter. I think a lot of people believe they are incomplete until they achieve something, quote unquote, achieve with these big quotes around it, with this big hyper-focused, looming importance about it. And I think it can look like a lot of different things. People say, when I get the promotion, when I make more money, when I lose the weight, when people recognize me, when I can do this, when I can do that, when I have achieved, and the list goes on and on and on. But I want to tell you that you already are somebody. You have already achieved dozens, more likely hundreds of things in your lifetime so far. We tie our identity to future milestones instead of our present reality. And that can be really detrimental sometimes. That can really weigh on us and make our mental health kind of slip and slide sometimes and leave us wanting and waiting and feeling like we're not good enough and like we're not enough for the people around us. And that can just be kind of gross in general. And I don't mean gross on your part as a person. I mean, it can make us feel gross because we have this daunting sense that we always have to keep stepping up the ladder and we always have to keep doing something different or achieving something new or getting promoted or making more money, or the list goes on and on and on. And I think we've confused becoming with being. We get so focused on the next thing we're going to become. And when we get here and when we do this and when we become this, then we're going to really focus on it. But we forget that we are actually being right now. We are alive and singing and dancing in our kitchen while we make dinner, and we are raising children, and we are going on dates, and we are talking to our parents, and we're growing and living every single day. We're making households and building houses. We're moving to a new apartment, and we're making memories, and we're making dinners, and we're making lunches, and we're making decisions that are best for our family and for our kids, and we are doing all the things in the present moment, and we overlook that so often. And I want to help you realize and remember that it's really necessary and really beautiful to look at what we are being right now, to look at who we are and what is in front of us and the things that we are actually currently working on and the things we have already accomplished. I think sometimes we look so far ahead down the road that we lose sight of where we're standing right at the moment. And sometimes where we're standing is really beautiful. There's really beautiful moments all around us. There's really beautiful memories that we are making all the time. And if all we do is look forward and never look right in front of us and never look back at the positive things that have happened in our life and the positive things that we have achieved, we're going to forever be wanting and waiting and thinking, well, someday if I can just get a little bit further down the road. And we don't realize that the part of the road we're standing on right now is exceptionally beautiful and really a phenomenal place to be and look around. We just have to pick our head up and get there. And if you are thinking, well, that's great, but I really am focused on this one thing, and, I'm someone who really does need to achieve one more thing, or I'll be happy when, or I'll be satisfied when, I want you to think, if you're listening now, of all the things that you already are. But people listening right now, even those of you I've never met or never talked to, I know you are a parent maybe, or a friend, a coworker. You show up when you're tired. You go to work. Maybe you work 2 jobs. You volunteer. You coach. You help your neighbors. You make food for the elderly couple across the street because it's overwhelming for them to cook sometimes. You laugh with your kids or with your spouse or with your family members, your mom, your dad, your sons, your daughters at the dinner table over something funny, and it becomes a long-running inside joke to your family that will last for decades and decades and decades. You are building the most beautiful things right now. And I don't want you to overlook that. I don't want you to forget that you already are somebody. And, there's so much to people. And I think getting to know someone really well and really deeply is such a beautiful thing to do. And I think a lot of times we do get to know someone really deeply and really well, and we admire them, and we think, wow, they're such a great person and they're so wonderful. And I think a lot of times we forget to get to know ourselves really well. We forget to really understand who we are and what we've been through and what we've accomplished already in our lives. And, you carry responsibilities a lot of times that people don't even see. And it's the ones on the inside that no one sees and no one can help you with unless you bring that to them. And you're the one people call sometimes when something goes wrong. And that makes you somebody too. I think there's that beautiful quote, and I'm going to probably mess it up however it goes, but it says something to the effect that right now there is someone daydreaming about being you and about having your life. And I think we forget that a lot because we're always looking so far down the road. We're always forgetting that we're actually living someone else's dream right now. And, if you are a person who has a lot of close friends or just a small group of friends, either one is perfectly okay, because within that circle, everybody has their place and everybody holds their own spot in the grand hierarchy of friendship and who brings what to the group. You might be the steady one. Even if you don't feel steady, you might be the one people always call on, and that's an accomplishment too. You might be the insightful one. You might be the one who always is cooking, the one who's always solving problems, the one who is always hosting. You already are somebody. You already are all of those things. And you don't need a title to be somebody, because you are already living a life that matters. I promise you are. Don't focus so much on the title that you're chasing that you forget all the titles you've already earned. You are first and foremost in this world. As soon as you were born, you were someone's child. You got to be someone's kid. You got to brighten their day and make them smile, and you got to grow up and think of them or spend time with them, and you got to maybe have siblings, and you got to learn about things in this world, and you got to learn about where you lived and where you came from, and you were already accomplishing things the moment you arrived into this world. And as you kept going and as you kept growing, maybe you had siblings, and then you developed friends, and you were somebody's best friend, and you were someone's confidant and someone's mentor and someone's coworker. And all of those things should be things that you celebrate and things that you remember, instead of just always saying, oh, well, I'll get to be somebody someday. I've said this a lot too. Comparison, this famous quote that I love so much, comparison is the thief of joy, right? So as you're listening, please don't say, oh, well, I'm not the insightful one in my group. So-and-so is. That's okay. It's okay. Everybody has their place. Being somebody is not tied to one specific thing that you think might be better than something else, or not so good or not as good as someone else or something else. Being someone means that you simply lean into the fact that you are a beautiful human being who was put on this earth for a purpose, and you can walk towards that purpose and meet some great people and make some great memories and relationships along the way. And social media is kind of tough with this, right? Social media gives us this constant comparison, and it makes us so we don't always see our own worth. We're looking and we're saying, wow, this person's post, look at that. They're on vacation. They're on this island. They brought this brand new car. I wish I could have that. I wish I could do this. And a lot of times the expectation is that that's the quote unquote, the mark of, that we've made it, or the mark of success, when in reality, I stood outside this morning in the sunshine with my face, turned towards the sun, looking up at a beautiful, bright blue sky, and just literally dancing on the bench of my picnic table to a song that I stumbled upon that made me really just super happy and want to move my body and sing and dance. And that's what I did this morning. And I didn't need to be on an island. I didn't need to be on vacation. I didn't need to have a brand new car or truck sitting in my driveway. I was celebrating the somebody that I already am and all the goofy and quirky things that go along with me. And I think we move our goalposts too in life, right? We say, well, here's the goalpost, and we get to it, and then we're like, well, now we have to move them, right? Because we achieved that. Well, now we got to keep going forward. We have to go further. We have to do more. The goalpost can't be here anymore. It needs to be here. And as I say that, you guys know full well that, and from my previous episodes and just from me as a person, that I am always encouraging people to learn and to expand and to grow and to better themselves any way they can and to take care of themselves. And all that is true. And this episode isn't about not doing that, but it's about remembering that when you do that, you don't automatically and instantaneously have to just shove the goalposts way off into the wild blue yonder, into the abyss, and say, well, I have so much further to go before I get to actually enjoy being me. The lack of recognition, I think, too, is our quiet contributions go unnoticed a lot of times, and that makes us, our self-view of ourselves, kind of lack and the recognition that we actually have done a whole lot of great things in this world and a whole lot of great things in our lives. And we normalize our own effort because we live inside it every day. We say, well, this isn't anything special that I am X, Y, and Z. Like, that's just my life. That's just where I am. That's just who I was born into. But sometimes if you stop and look around, life is absolutely extraordinary. The people that you know, the friends that you have, the children that you have, if you have kids, if you're a parent, the place you live, the weather, the flowers, the animals you encounter on your drive to work, the skyscrapers that surround you when you look up into the air that were built by people generations before you and will be there for generations to come. And all the things around you, the life you're living right now makes you somebody. And there's so many things to look around and enjoy. And so I want to encourage you to really, really, really remember to not give in to a feeling of constant dissatisfaction. And I think a lot of times we get that as people. We're always struggling. We're always striving. We're always comparing ourselves to other people and thinking, oh, hey, we have to do this to be really great. And as someone who has experienced burnout firsthand and does a lot to help people and talk to people and work with people on their own personal wellness and walking back from burnout and avoiding burnout altogether, that creeps up on you too, because it's this forever feeling that we have to be better and we're not quite good enough. So we keep chasing and we keep going and we don't rest because we feel like we have to earn the rest. And then we end up burned out and worn out and just depleted and laying on the floor, staring at the ceiling going, I don't want to do anything because I have no energy or capacity to do anything else anymore, period. And that brings about this feeling of, quote unquote, less than, or being behind. I'm going to stop right now and listen when I tell you, you are not behind. You are right where you're supposed to be. Everybody is on a different path. Everybody is walking their own path. Everybody is on a different trip down through this beautiful thing that we call life. And you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't jump ahead and rush things. And don't live in the past, but also don't jump ahead and rush things and say, oh, I wish I could be, 10 years from now. I remember when my kids were very, very little, someone told me, oh, don't worry, it gets better. And the number of people who told me that while I was sleep deprived and trying to raise a newborn and work full time and work literally 2 or 3 days in a row without any sleep, if it was a big snowstorm I had to be at work for, I wanted to punch those people because the quote unquote it gets better was so frustrating to me. And at some point I said, well, I wish this was just easier and that they were older and they could do things for themselves. And I'm here to tell you that I do miss when they were little. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my God, I wish they were little again. I'm not saying that, but I look back and think of all the things that I wish I took more time to celebrate when my kids were little and to just look around and notice and breathe in and celebrate instead of kind of moving those goalposts further down the road. And once it occurred to me that that's pretty damaging and detrimental to do, I tried to do my best to live every day and celebrate the things that are around me and do my best to give myself some credit for the things that I've accomplished. I would love to say that, I have X, Y, and Z, or I do make more money, or I've accomplished these 3 things that I've set out to do, or these goals, I wish I could check them off my list. But there's lots of things that we can celebrate in the moment too, and I think a lot of times we overlook that. And when people believe that they're quote unquote not enough yet, they overextend trying to prove that they are. And there's this great quote that Gary Vee has said it and Les Brown has said it, you're working so hard and spending money you don't have to impress people you don't even like, or to buy things, spending money you don't have to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't even know or you don't even like. And it's true. Sometimes, we try to get say we want to overextend and prove that we're quote unquote good enough and that we're okay and all that kind of stuff. And it gets really damaging if we give into that. And when we keep chasing these things, this kind of just popped into my head. But if you only let yourself feel like somebody when you arrive at that moment or that goal, you'll spend your whole life feeling like nobody. And I don't want anyone to do that, because you are not nobody. You are a beautiful creature that's walking down the path of life the best you can. And you are also not nobody to the other people in your life. To your parents, you are their child. You'll be that forever. Whether you've talked to your parents lately or not, you were forever their kid in this world and their child. And if you have parents, you are forever a parent. And you are already somebody the moment you step into this world, the moment you are born, and the moment you arrive. So please, please, please don't ever feel like you are nobody. I don't want anyone to ever give into that. If I could grab you by the shoulders right now and kind of make you look right into my face and look right into my eyes, I would tell you, hear me when I tell you, you are not nobody. You are somebody already. I promise, I promise, I promise. And making it, quote unquote, it isn't a destination. It's a daily effort. I've said before that the only thing you have to do is be better than you were yesterday, be better than yourself yesterday, and that can bring about a lot of joy. If you say, well, someday, I want to be in incredible shape by, the end of the year. Okay, awesome. But you can't snap your fingers and automatically just transform yourself. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be cool? But if yesterday you did 5 push-ups because that's all you could manage, and today you do 6, that's better than yesterday. If you want to better your mind and you want to learn more and you want to develop a new skill, and you say, well, yesterday I only read this book for 10 minutes trying to learn a new skill because it was hard and dense and was overwhelming. If you read for 11 minutes today, or if you read one more page than yesterday, you are already better than you were yesterday. And that's the back and forth. That's the beautiful life that's worth living, is being better than you were yesterday. You don't have to have this destination that seems like it's forever and a day away into the future. Make it your daily effort. Celebrate the little things as you go. Celebrate the wins along the way. And your new version of success can be things like showing up for yourself and other people. It can be trying again if it doesn't work the first time. It can be being a little bit better than yesterday. You don't have to be 10 times better than you were yesterday. You just have to be a little bit better than yesterday. And you're not waiting to become. You are already building a beautiful life. Please don't get lost in thinking, well, I'm going to become something someday. You're already something, and you're already someone. And, you're not behind either. You're in motion all the time. Every day that we wake up and we get going, and we wake up and shut the alarm clock off and make the coffee and go to work and get the kids to school, or go to our first job and our second job and take out the trash and do the dishes and do the laundry and connect with friends and go out for drinks on a Thursday night and, make pizza on Friday night. All the things that we do in our lives, you are always in motion, and that is worth celebrating because you're not behind. You are a creature in motion, and you have momentum to keep right on going. And if no one has told you lately, I'm going to tell you one more time, you are somebody. Never let anyone around you make you believe that you are less than them or that you are a nobody. Period. End of story. And if you have kids, please help them with this message too. When it comes to bullies and social media, our kids have it so tough these days because they can never escape the pressure of social media and the group text and all that stuff that they always have from their peers and their classmates and the people around them. So tell them too that they are already somebody and that they're beautiful people and beautiful somebodies in this world, and you love watching the motion of their lives and watching what they get to create and accomplish as they go. And if you're looking for some ways to reflect on this, I would encourage you also to ask yourself, who depends on you? Where do you show up for people? What do you do on a daily basis? What have you carried that other people maybe didn't see? And I bet you at the end of your little self-reflective session, you will have a pretty long list of things. Who depends on you? Well, if you're a parent, you can say, well, my kids depend on me. If you're a person with an older or aging parent or loved one in your life that you help take care of, they depend on you too. Your job depends on you. The people depend on you who you work with. Your fellow volunteers depend on you. all the things. The teachers depend on you to get your kid either on the bus or off to school if you're a parent. Your boss depends on you to complete the work they assigned you on time so you can keep going and that business can go about as usual. Where are you showing up? You show up at work. You show up every day when you show up for your family, for your spouse or for your kids or for your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, the aunts, uncles. The list is endless. And what have you carried that others couldn't see? I know everyone listening has had some kind of silent battle they've walked through that they didn't hand to anybody else, didn't ask anybody else for help. Those are all accomplishments that all those things make you somebody. All those things make you a person who is beautiful and worth celebrating. And I don't want you to think differently about yourself. I want you to lean right into the idea and the fact that you are a capable person and that you are always accomplishing new things. Even on the days where you say, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to spend Friday night on the couch with takeout watching Netflix. Guess what? That doesn't mean you're a nobody. That means you're a person who has a certain taste for a certain kind of takeout, and you can celebrate your favorite food, and you can celebrate the fact that you have lots of knowledge about different cuisines. You can celebrate the fact that you've seen more movies than most people that you know. And all those things make you this beautiful and abundant person. And when taking away from that, it just seems so silly. And lots of us do it. So I know it's difficult to sidestep and get away from. But you are already somebody. And I know I've said that a whole bunch of times this episode already, but I want you to hear me, and I want to let it sink in, and I want it to resonate with you, and I want you to feel it in your bones. You are already somebody. You are already a beautiful, wonderful, strong, confident, competent person who has accomplished lots of things, and some of them you've never even given yourself credit for. So as we wind down, my friends, I want to remind you to stop waiting to be somebody, because you already are somebody. Stop waiting for the thing to happen that will make you feel like you've quote-unquote made it. You have already made it. You are here and alive in this world, and you are able to walk around and talk to people and make decisions, and you are already living your own destiny. You just sometimes don't focus on it. You're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be. Focus on that as you go forward today. Keep your chin up. Lean into the things that interest you. Take time to do the things that interest you and make you feel fulfilled. Celebrate your accomplishments. Celebrate the people around you. Celebrate your friendships and your relationships and all the beautiful things in this world. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time. And please remember one more time, you, my friend, are already somebody. Thanks for tuning in to Todd Talk. If you've liked what you've heard, please go ahead and subscribe and follow along so you don't miss any updates or new episodes. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day.